All right, here are the notes for 7.4. You may have noticed that I did not sound well the last time I did notes. I've taken a couple of days off. I just have a cold, but trying to survive here. So my goal today is to do the last two set of notes in chapter 7 and to put them up online. So we've been doing a bunch of equations with variables on both sides, and we've done equations with parentheses, and I typed out that procedure for you to follow. So now we're going to do one more type of equation, and that's an equation that has fractions in it. Okay, so here's the procedure for that. The first thing you're going to do is look at all the denominators and find the lowest common denominator of all of the fractions. And then you're going to multiply every term of the equation by that lowest common denominator. And what that's going to do is that's going to clear the fractions or get rid of them. And then you're going to solve the resulting equation by using the steps that we did in the last couple of sections. And then it says check your answer. I'm not going to make you check your solutions. So here's what that is going to look like. So if we look at 1a, again, the first thing it says is we have to find the lowest common denominator of all of the fractions. Well, if you look at, I'm just zooming in a little bit here, this 14 is really over 1. So if I find the lowest common denominator of all of the fractions, again, that's the smallest number that 2 divides into evenly, 5 divides into evenly, and 1 divides into evenly, my lowest common denominator is going to be 10. So now what you're going to do with that is you're going to take every single part of the equation and you're going to multiply it by 10 over 1. So we'll take x over 2 and multiply it by 10 over 1 plus x over 5, and we're going to multiply it by 10 over 1 equals 14 over 1, and we're going to multiply that by 10 over 1. So every single term of the equation, you're going to multiply by whatever the LCD is over 1. Now you're about to see when I actually do my multiplication, all of my fractions are going to disappear. For example, in this first set here, my 2 will cancel into my 10, leaving me with a 5. So if I look here, I have both 1's on the bottom, so that means I'm not going to have a fraction, and I'm simply going to have 5 times x plus. When I go over here, my 5 will cancel into my 10 twice. Nothing's left on the bottom besides 1's, and I'm going to be left with just 2x is equal to, when I go to the right-hand side, nothing cancels. We already have 1's in the denominators. So you're going to get 14 times 10, which is 140. Once all the denominators are cleared, now you just solve it like we've been solving the last couple of sections. So there are no parentheses. We don't have to worry about that, but we do have like terms right here that we can combine to get 7x equals 140. And now I'm going to isolate the x by dividing both sides by 7, and you're going to get x is equal to 20. Okay, so I know that step looks a little crazy, but you're going to want to do that step for every single problem. All right, let's look at B. Again, I'm going to put a 1 under anything that's not a fraction. So what is the lowest common denominator of 1, 3, and 6? What's the smallest number that 1, 3, and 6 all divide into evenly? The answer is 6. 6 divides into 6 evenly, 3 divides into 6 evenly, and so does 1. So I'm going to take and I'm going to multiply each term by 6 over 1. And when I do this, when I actually do the multiplication, all of the fractions are going to disappear. So you can see this first term, there's nothing to cancel. There's already 1's in the denominator, so I'm going to get negative 12x plus, over here, the 3 cancels into the 6 twice. So I'm going to get plus 2 is equal to, if I go to the right-hand side, the 6's cancel, and I'm left with just 5. Okay, so now we solve this equation like we've been doing my other equations. There's no like terms to combine, and all of my variable parts are on the left, but I want to get rid of this because remember, I want everything with a variable to one side, everything without a variable to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides of my equation, which will give me negative 12x equals 3. Get the x alone by dividing both sides of my equal sign by negative 12. Those are going to cancel. So I'm going to get x is equal to, now this is going to reduce. I can divide both top and bottom by 3. Always reduce your fractions. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. And negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. And again, that negative can go in front, it can go in the top, or it can go in the bottom. It doesn't matter. All right, let's look at C. Again, I'm going to put 1s under everything that's not a fraction. What is my lowest common denominator of all the fractions? Well, you can see it's 3. So take each one of your terms of your equation and multiply it by 3 over 1. Okay, now let's do our canceling, and remember at that point all the fractions should disappear. So 3 will cancel with the 3, which leaves me with simply 1y, plus nothing cancels here. If I multiply the tops, I'm going to get 3y is equal to, nothing again cancels here because I have 1's in the denominator. 8 times 3 is 24. So let's go ahead. You can see that I have 2 like terms to combine on this left-hand side. 1y plus 3y is 4y. And if I divide both sides by 4, you're going to get y is equal to 6. If we want to do just a quick check here, I just want to show you that yes, you can still check these. I'm going to kind of put it in that box. So I'm going to take the 6, I'm going to plug it up all the way into here for y. So it would look like this: 6 over 3 plus 6 is equal to 8. So here's my check. 6 over 3 is 6 divided by 3, which is 2. And 2 plus 6 is 8. So you can see that it does check. And you can check any of them. Sometimes the check is worse than actually solving the equation, though. So if that happens, I wouldn't check. Use your checking in the back, or not in the back of the book anymore, but online. It will tell you the correct answer. All right, here we go. Let's do this one. So what is my LCD with 3, 5, and 5? Hopefully you know that your LCD is 15. So take each term of the equation and multiply it by 15 over 1. If I do my multiplication, my 3 here will cancel into my 15 5 times. So you can see that term is now a 5x minus, this 5 will cancel into the 15 3 times. And you can see that I would have 3 times 4, which is 12, is equal to, this 5, again, will cancel into the 15 3 times. And we have negative 2 times 3, which is negative 6. Voila, all the fractions are gone. So now, no parentheses, no like terms to combine. all of my terms with an x are already over here, but I need everything without an x to be over here, which means I want to get rid of this minus 12. So I'm going to add 12 to both sides. So 5x is going to be equal to negative 6 plus 12 is 6. And if I divide both sides by 5, I'm going to get x equals 6/5. And you can just leave it as 6/5. All right, so now I wanted to show you something with parentheses. What you want to do is before you multiply through by the lowest common denominator, you always want to eliminate the parentheses. So that means that we are going to want to go ahead and we're going to distribute this through. Okay? So if I distribute this through, if I multiply 2/3 times x over 2, I'm going to get 2x over 6. Now, I know that I could have canceled these 2's, and you are welcome to do that, but you don't have to in the end. Minus 2/3 times 1 is 2/3, plus 1/4 equals 1/6. So now let's eliminate the fractions. Let's get rid of them. So between 6, 3, 4, and 6, what's the smallest number that all of them divide into? It is 12. So I'm going to multiply everything through by 12. So 2x over 6 times 12 over 1 minus 2 over 3 times 12 over 1 plus 1 over 4 times 12 over 1 equals 1 over 6 times 12 over 1. Okay, we got a lot of canceling to do. So this 6 will cancel into this 12, giving me a 2. So 2x times 2 is going to be 4x. Minus this 3 will cancel into this 12, leaving me with 4. And I have 2 times 4, which is 8. Plus this 4 will cancel into this 12, giving me 3. And 3 times 1 is 3. Equals, on the right-hand side, this 6 will cancel into this 12, leaving me with 2. And 2 times 1 is 2. So you have no more fractions. All right, so we look, I do see some like terms we can combine right here. So let's go ahead and do that. 4x and a negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. Now all my variables are on the left. I want to get rid of this minus 5, so I'm going to add 5 to both sides, and I'm going to go up here. So when I do that, I'm going to end up with 4x. The 5's are going to cancel, is equal to 7, 2 plus 5. And then simply divide both sides of my equal sign by 4. And I'm going to get x equals 7/4. And that's the most difficult equation that we are going to learn how to solve in this class. So go back, re-watch them if you need to, slow them down, take good notes, and good luck on the homework.